You have just clicked on a video from a channel named SaltyPuglord. If enormous mountains of salt isn't what you wanted, then click away now. I don't sugarcoat my opinions, and I never hold back from a rant. You have been warned. With that audience intelligence insulting disclaimer out of the way, let's go straight to SaltyPuglord's top 5, not at all sarcastic, ways to fail in Mechwarrior Online. Number 5. Use an absolutely terrible mech build. This point is number 5 for a good reason. While it certainly is possible to lose in the mech lab, the truth is that a good player can make even a poor build work well enough to contribute to the team's win in a significant way. My point is, you don't have to be a meta slave who only plays the very best build ever created for your chassis. However, on the other hand, you also can't play a Lerm-only Atlas with an XL engine and expect it to perform well in an average match. Playing a meta build is no guarantee of victory, but playing an utterly terrible build might guarantee your own personal destruction. Number 4. Mindless NASCAR like there's no tomorrow. There are probably as many definitions of what NASCAR is as there are Mechwarriors. My personal definition goes something like this. NASCAR is the tendency of low-skill players to mindlessly run in a counterclockwise circle around a central feature of the map without understanding why they're doing it, what they're giving up by leaving their current position, or the effect that this has upon their team. Now, NASCAR is bad enough when it splits the friendly team apart, giving a competent and cohesive enemy team a golden opportunity to isolate and destroy the smaller pieces of the friendly team with little to no effort or risk. But in my opinion, the worst consequence of NASCAR is when it leads an inexperienced team to mindlessly jump into the low ground where they can easily be stabbed to death like fish in a barrel by even halfway competent enemy players acting alone. But Mechwarriors who mindlessly NASCAR neither notice nor care about any of that. They simply want to blindly run in circles without thought or attention, and they don't give a damn if they're handing the enemy team victory on a silver platter. So split your team apart with mindless, reflexive, unthinking NASCAR and hand your enemy an easy victory. Number 3. Avoid cover in all its forms. The effective use of cover is the second most powerful tactic in Mechwarrior Online. I don't think I really need to belabor this point. If you have managed to climb out of Tier 3 and into Tier 2, then you have at least some inkling of how to use cover and why the use of cover is essential to victory in battle. Now, if you're brand new to the game and don't yet understand the specifics of cover, I'll put a link to Kanajashi's terrain and positioning tutorial down below in the description of this video. By all means, watch that. Players who stand still in the open quickly find themselves focus-fired to oblivion by even the most mediocre of opponents. Number 2. Never, ever employ teamwork. Teamwork has always been massively OP in Mechwarrior Online, and it always will be. There are many reasons for this, but two of the most obvious are, first, every mech on the field, be it friend or foe, starts the match with armor. Consequently, the first salvo to hit an enemy will never kill them, because their armor will ablate it. Second, nearly all weapons in the game have a cooldown period after they are fired, during which they cannot fire again. Skillful, coordinated attacks by 2 or 3 allies against a single enemy will force that enemy to spread his weapons fire across multiple mechs, thus penetrating nobody's armor. And, once that enemy has fired, they will be stuck in weapon cooldown for a short time, thus allowing friendlies a brief window to attack without any risk of retaliation. For this and many other reasons, teamwork always has been and always will be OP. Avoid using teamwork, and you will be throwing what is arguably your strongest advantage, and the most powerful tactic in the game, straight into the trash can. Number 1. Avoid actually shooting the enemy. This point is number 1 for a good reason. By using this single tip, you can successfully negate any and all good effects you might have created by avoiding the mistakes described in all of the previous points. No amount of metamech, good positioning, cover usage, or teamwork will matter one iota if you do not shoot the enemy. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this. You must shoot the enemy to win. This simple, easy, and obvious truth is, somehow, not understood by at least 50% of the pilots in Mechwarrior Online today. There is quite literally only a single game mode, Conquest, where it is even possible to win the match without pulling the trigger. And the odds of a Conquest mode victory where no weapons are fired is many hundreds or thousands to 1 against. In all other game modes, if you, and many other people on your team as well, do not fire at the enemy, then you are guaranteed to lose the match, period. Bad players run away from combat, always giving their enemy the maximum chance to easy and risklessly kill them by shooting them through their thinner rear armor. Good players observe the state of the battlefield around them, deduce where an opportunity to shoot the enemy might exist, and then actively seek to exploit that opportunity. In other words, they actually try to shoot the enemy. They intentionally and vigorously make the attempt to get their crosshairs on the enemy and then actually pull the trigger, instead of passively doing nothing or even running away like enormous cowards. The very best players in the game create opportunities to shoot the enemy even when and where such opportunities did not exist before they were created. However, this level of skill is probably beyond the abilities of your average pugtard. Now, I do not wish to give you the impression that I believe that finding or exploiting opportunities to actually shoot the enemy is either simple or easy. Generally, it is neither. But when given the choice between trying to actively do something that might give you a chance at victory, or passively doing nothing and guaranteeing that you will be defeated, well, I sure hope you find that an easy decision to make. A chance at victory, or a guarantee of defeat. Your call.
Let's take advantage of it.
It bears repeating, so I will say it again. If you learn nothing else from this video, learn this. You must shoot the enemy in order to win. If you do not actually shoot the enemy, your defeat is guaranteed. The entire game of Mechwarrior Online was created entirely for the express purpose of shooting giant enemy robots. If you do not want to actually shoot giant enemy robots, then you should not be playing this game. The Hello Kitty Island Adventure servers are still up, and new players are still allowed to join them. If you don't want to actually shoot giant enemy robots, then you might be happier over there. Just saying. Reason number 0. Playing a game with a broken matchmaking system. Surprised that there's a number 0? Can't blame you. But this one deserves to be more widely known. While the other items focused on things that players can choose to do or not do, this item is one that players have absolutely no control over. PGI was told in advance of their decision to do it that allowing pre-made groups into solo queue was a terrible idea and it would absolutely lower match quality. PGI then changed the matchmaking system to allow pre-made groups into solo queue anyway. And shockingly, ever since then, balance between opposing teams, and thus the quality of matchmaking, has very often been much worse. So if you wonder why so many games seem to be 12-4 or worse stomps, this is a significant reason why. PGI's decision here was particularly bad, even by PGI's already low standards, because it demonstrates a fuck the solo players attitude. Russ Bullock, CEO of PGI, admitted during a town hall video that the smaller the size of groups allowed in solo queue, the better match quality would be. That statement is entirely correct. Teamwork has always been OP in MWO, and allowing pre-made groups into solo queue is turbocharging teamwork for the members of that pre-made group. This gives the pre-made a very large advantage over the solo players. But the problem is actually even worse than that. It is inherently unfeasible and maybe impossible to accurately rate the skill of a pre-made group. A pre-made group of 4 EMP players will always easily dominate the match they are in. A group of 4 228 players on the other team are absolutely no match for them. Now, consider the case where the pre-made group of ultra-high skill players are all playing on their alt accounts, do not have unit tags, and their PSR has not yet caught up with their actual skill level. How can an automated system of any kind accurately rank the power of that pre-made group? It cannot. Everyone knows this, including PGI. PGI was told this in advance. And yet PGI consciously chose to break their own matchmaking system anyway. Say what you will about PSR, and I have said many things about it over the years, few of them positive. At least PSR is a system that tries to balance player skill between the
someone got an
teams,
ammo hit.
and sometimes it even succeeds. Allowing pre-made groups in solo
Mechwarrior.
queue goes beyond merely not trying to balance the teams. It's flat-out permission to players to game the matchmaking system and give themselves an unfair advantage.
Oh, I got
If you want proof that PGI hates solo players, look no further than this. PGI expended extra engineering effort, time, and money in order to intentionally break their own matchmaking system. And they did so after being warned in advance by several of the best players in the game that it was going to break shit. PGI did it anyway. Nobody who's paying attention could mistake what PGI's intent was here.